Alright, so the 2010 NFL football season is almost here, and nothing signals the start of the season like the fantasy football draft. Today, I got a cheat sheet here to help you with your draft. Hi, I'm Kenny Ray. I play sports, I watch sports, I talk sports. I am the sports savant. Alright, so nowadays, everybody plays fantasy football. And the most important part of the season is the draft. That's when you build your team. So what I've done is comprised a cheat sheet here to help you with your draft. Print out this paper, go to my website, sportsavant.com, print it out, take it with you to your draft, and basically just follow along the sheet. It's pretty simple. Alright, for Group 1, I've broken it down to 4 different categories. We've got Group 1A, Group 1B, Group 1C, and 1D. 1A, these guys are can't-miss prospects. They're at the top of everybody's draft, and they're pretty self-explanatory. We got Chris Johnson, Adrian Peterson, Maurice Jones-Drew. Those are the 3 running backs. I take them before anybody else. They're the feature player on their team, and unless there's an injury, they're going to have a great season. Then for the quarterbacks, we got Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees. These are the 2 best quarterbacks last year, and they're in a high-powered offense, they're in a passing offense, and chances are they're going to have another great season. For a wide receiver, we only got one. We got Andre Johnson. The reason Andre Johnson is here by himself is because he returns to pretty much the same team he had last year. He's got the same quarterback and a pretty weak running game. He's an absolute stud at wide receiver. He can get 10 to 15 catches every game, and there's really no questions to him. So those are the 1A guys. Those are guys that you can't miss, and I would draft these guys before I draft anybody else. These are studs, and I would want any one of these guys on my team. All of them, barring injuries, are going to have huge seasons. So for the 1B guys, these are guys that you want on your team. They're going to be starters, and they're going to be great players. They have a little bit of a question mark, though, and that's why they're the second tier. We got Ray Rice, running back. His question mark is the fact that he gave up a lot of touchdowns to Willis McGahee last year. And on the same note, Joe Flacco and Anquan Boldin are going to make the passing game improve just a little bit. So Ray Rice's stock can go down just a little bit. We don't know where he's going to fall. I still think he's going to be an absolute fantasy stud. And if you're in a points per reception league, Ray Rice would probably be my first guy picked. He averages about 5 to 6 catches a game, and that's about equal to a touchdown. So if you're in a points per reception, take Ray Rice right now. Frank Gore is our other guy we got in the running backs. And the reason he's there is because we don't know what San Francisco's offense is going to look like. They're still a pretty new team. They got a new coach. And they got Michael Crabtree as a receiver, Frank Gore at running back, Alex Smith at quarterback. None of them have been really proven. Frank Gore is a stud. He should get a big percentage of the balls, but he also has some kind of injury problems, so that's why he's in the second tier. And same thing for Michael Turner. Michael Turner is going to be the feature back in Atlanta, and Atlanta's got Roddy White and Matt Ryan. They're going to have a pretty balanced offense. We know Michael Turner is going to get a lot of carries, but he had an off year last year, so again, he falls to the second tier. For wide receiver, we got Larry Fitzgerald, Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson. Randy Moss is here, basically self-explanatory. He's a great player. We expect more from him this year. Calvin Johnson, he's with Matthew Stafford. Stafford's had a year to develop, and I think Calvin Johnson's going to have a breakout year this year, and he'll be at the top of the wide receiver list for sure. And then we got Larry Fitzgerald. The only reason Larry Fitzgerald is not up in the first tier with Andre Johnson is because he's got a new quarterback with Matt Leinart, and because Anquan Boldin is gone, so he doesn't have that safety net of having the safety look out for both sides of the ball. Larry Fitzgerald is going to be the focus at wide receiver, and we got to find out how Matt Leinart is going to do getting him the ball. That's why he's in the second tier. Larry Fitzgerald himself is a badass player, and I got no problems with him, but just not sure how he's going to work with Arizona offense this year. And then for quarterback, we got Peyton Manning. You can pretty much guarantee Peyton Manning is going to throw for 4,200 yards, 28 touchdowns. That's almost a lock. The reason he's in second tier is because I don't think he has quite the upside that Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees has, just because his offense is a little bit more balanced. And Peyton Manning's more about winning games and being in the lead, where Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees, they need to just outgun everybody. So they're going to have a lot more passes, a lot more attempts, and probably more touchdowns as well. These are your 1B players. Now, once all the 1A players are off the board, take these guys immediately. All right, so we got Group 1C. Now, these guys are guys that are legit starters, but there are some question marks with their team and with the players themselves. So we got Cedric Benson with the Cincinnati Bengals. Last year, he was a stud. Cincinnati became pretty much a running team, but for the past years before that, they were a passing team. We don't know how they're going to fall this year because they got T.O., they got Antonio Bryant. Maybe Carson Palmer is going to, find his arm strength back, and they'll become a passing team. If so, Cedric Benson's going to lose out. He's still a top running back, but I wouldn't put him in the first 2 tiers. Then we got Ryan Matthews. This guy's a rookie. I think he's going to be a stud. He's going to get some good numbers, but just because he's a rookie, he's got those question marks behind him that wouldn't put him in the top tiers. Steven Jackson. This guy is getting a little older. He's taking a beating each and every year. He puts up huge numbers, has tons of carries, and I'm afraid that's going to have some wear and tear on him. So I'm dropping him down to the 3rd tier for that reason only. Then we got Ryan Grant. He's a good running back, makes some good plays, and is going to be the featured back in one of the top offenses in the NFL. The only problem with him is that while he does have some really big games, he also has some complete off games. And I always want a pretty balanced attack. I want guys that are going to score each and every week. And while Ryan Grant will score some points each and every week, he won't put up top numbers every week. Rashard Mendenhall of the Pittsburgh Steelers. This guy, it's pretty much his first year in the featured role. So I do expect good things from him. But I dropped him down to the 3rd tier just because it's his first year. We don't know what he's going to do. We don't know how the Steelers are going to be with Ben out. So Rashard falls into this tier as well. For quarterbacks, we got Tom Brady and Matt Schaub. Both of these guys are on passing featured offenses. They both put up big numbers last year. Matt Schaub's put up numbers for the last couple years. And I got no problem picking these guys. I think they're going to be at the top. And I would definitely say these guys are higher ranked than the rest of the quarterbacks in the NFL. And then for wide receivers, we got Reggie Wayne. He's Manning's #1 guy. Don't really need to say anything else other than that. We got Deshaun Jackson in Philly. And this guy, he's a little guy, but he's got speed, he's got quickness, and he makes tons of big plays, and expect more for him this year, just like that. Brandon Marshall in Miami, new team, but I think he's going to have the same kind of role. He's a big receiver, he's going to have tons of catches, and he's with a stronger arm quarterback in Chad Henne, so chances are he might have some more bigger plays. Probably won't have 100 catches like he did last year, but I'm sure he'll have close, and touchdowns I don't think will be down at all. Then we got Roddy White in Atlanta. This guy's a stud. He's the featured wide receiver. I think Matt Ryan and him are going to have a pretty big year this year, so I got no problem picking this guy. These are your 1C players. I'd want these guys on my team, but I wouldn't draft these guys until all the 1A and 1B players are off the board. All right, we got Group 1D. Here we got some players that have a little bit more question marks, or they are platooning with somebody else. They may not be the featured player in their offense, things like that. I would definitely take these guys. I feel very confident with them as my starters, but they may have some up weeks, they may have some down weeks, and they may have some weeks where they're not the featured guy at all, and you don't get many points. So that's why I'm putting them in the 4th category. We got Sean Green for the Jets. This guy could have a breakout year. He could be the best running back in the league at the end of the season, but he's got to share time with LaDainian, and just not sure how that platoon's going to work out, so I dropped him down for that reason only. And Knowshon Moreno, same thing. He could be a stud, but Denver's offense has a lot of question marks, and Knowshon's got to share time with Correll Buckhalter, maybe Justin Fargas, and maybe Lindale White. So we don't know how that's going to work out. He also had some injuries issues last year and preseason, so that kind of leads to some question marks also. We got DeAngelo Williams. Every year this guy puts up big numbers, but because he shared time with Jonathan Stewart, he has some off weeks where Jonathan Stewart gets 2 or 3 touchdowns and DeAngelo gets none. For that reason alone, he drops down here. Joseph Adai, he's going to be sharing time with Donald Brown. Adai had a great year last year, even though a lot of people expected him not to. I got no problem picking Adai. We got Pierre Thomas, same thing. He's in a high-powered offense. He's going to be the starting running back, but he's got to share time with Reggie Bush. He's also got to share time with all the receivers. They got the Saints are pretty much a pass-only offense, so Pierre Thomas is going to drop just a little bit because of that. We got Jamal Charles and Matt Forte. Both of these guys could have great seasons this year. They could be breakout stars, but they also Jamal Charles has Thomas Jones to worry about, and Matt Forte has Chester Taylor to worry about. So those players just being on the team, getting in there, getting some carries, are going to knock these guys down just a little bit. And last of all, we got LaShawn McCoy. This is the only guy that's not really platooning at running back. He's pretty much the running back for Philadelphia. The reason he's here is because last year, whenever he filled in for Brian Westbrook, his fantasy numbers weren't very good. So I would like to have LaShawn McCoy on my team, but I wouldn't want him to be my #1 guy just because, I don't think he's going to perform each and every week at a high level like some of the other running backs can. All right, enough about running backs. For quarterbacks, we got Phillip Rivers and Tony Romo. Both of these guys are in passing offenses. They're good quarterbacks, and I'd want them to be on my team. The only problem is they haven't put up huge numbers in the past. They haven't put up elite numbers. So I dropped them down just a little bit for that reason. For wide receiver, we got Michael Crabtree, Marcus Colston, Mike Sims-Walker, Vincent Jackson, Greg Jennings, Miles Austin, Anquan Boldin, and Wes Welker. Wes Welker is here just because of his injury questions. That's it. If you're in a point per reception league, I would jump Wes Welker up to the top 4 or 5 receivers just because he's going to catch 8-9 balls a game, and right there, that's more than a touchdown per game just on catches. Greg Jennings, I think, is going to be the breakout player this year. He's ranked really low in a lot of the rankings online, but I would take Greg Jennings. He's the #1 guy for possibly the #1 passing offense. Enough said for that. Vincent Jackson, he's out for the first 4 games. He's got some contract issues, but come fantasy playoffs, Vincent Jackson is going to be one of the top receivers in the league. He's basically the only real legit receiver that the Chargers have, along with Antonio Gates, and the Chargers are a passing offense, so Vincent Jackson is going to get his fair share, and I would definitely draft him with ease. For the first 4 weeks, throw somebody else in there, and then after that, you're going to have a stud. Marcus Colston, he's the #1 guy on the Saints passing team. The problem is the Saints have so many weapons that there are going to be some weeks where Marcus Colston doesn't get all the catches. Michael Crabtree, #1 guy in San Francisco. He started the season late last year, came in, had a great season, and I expect him to have a breakout season this year. He's ranked pretty low, so he might be a steal for some of you guys. We got Miles Austin. A lot of people are ranking him really high and expecting him to be a top-tier receiver. I think he's a great receiver. I loved watching him play. The only problem is the Cowboys, like the Saints, have so many weapons that Miles Austin is going to get lost in the shuffle if this week or that week. He's got Dez Bryant, Roy Williams, Felix Jones, Marion Barber. All these guys are going to perform, and Jason Witten. But each and every week you can't expect big numbers from all of them. And then we got Anquan Boldin, first year in Baltimore. That leaves some question marks. I think the Baltimore could turn into a pass-first offense. Him and Flacco could have this wonderful repertoire where they have tons of big games. But at the same time, Baltimore is usually a run-first team, so that leaves a big question mark for him. And then for tight end, we've finally got 2 tight ends. We got Dallas Clark. Dallas Clark is pretty much the #2 guy in Indy. So for a tight end, he's almost going to be just as valuable as a top receiver. I would have no problem picking this guy, and I think he should go off the board pretty quick. And then you got Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates, same thing. He's a featured receiver in the San Diego Chargers attack. He's pretty much a receiver more than a tight end. And either one of these guys, I would take them. And I'd want them on my team because they are so much better than all the rest of the tight ends. The 1D players are going to be starters on their team, but they may platoon, they may share time, or they may not be the featured player on their team's offense. All right, that's all we got for Group 1. Watch the second video for Group 2, Group 3, and Group 4. Thanks a lot.